I honestly cannot believe what we're about to go through. RAM prices are disgusting. Storage prices are probably gonna get insane. GPU prices have been disgusting. It's like we went through crypto and now we're going through AI and gamers are just getting destroyed. That's literally what's happening, right? Which is why I decided to make this exact video, because I feel like this is the thing that's gonna save a lot of our gaming experiences. Because try to build a PC now, you're gonna spend like at least $2,000 to be able to run games at a fair, decent frame rate. Like, it just doesn't make sense. My friends ask me, bro, what should I get? I know you know about tech and stuff, and you have like insights and stuff. I don't know what to tell you guys. I have no idea what to tell you guys. Like, I try to recommend parts and stuff. It just doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. So this is why not only am I giving away 3 PlayStations in this video, but I'm also going to talk about the Steam Deck and try to help you guys make a decent purchase, because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Anyways, if this helps you guys, consider subscribing and just enjoy the video. Really, just watch the whole thing, and I hope it helps you guys. I think I'm getting sick. Anyways, enjoy your Wednesday. Very simple. Valve has about 350 employees that keep making absolute wonders. I got the OLED version, and it's amazing. In fact, I got the white one, and it's been aging quite well. I do think, though, that over time my joysticks will become more yellow and yellow, so maybe avoid the white one in that aspect, or maybe just get custom joysticks. And if you ever do, while you're at it, just get Hall Effect joysticks. And Hall Effect joysticks are very interesting because instead of physical contacts, they use magnets, which means no drift, smoother control, and way longer lifespan. Although on my end, I've been totally fine with mine up to now, but do know that the common timeline from what I've seen online before they start acting up is about 8 to 18 months. Regardless, if they break, don't freak out, there's a solution. But just know that if you take care of your Steam Deck like I've been doing, it'll last you for a while, like a long time. Like, I've brought mine into planes, put in bags, used in hotels, and it's perfectly fine. Or almost, actually, because I got a little scratch on the top of my screen. I don't know, maybe just put a screen protector. That makes sense. I'll probably just end up leaving a link down below from the brand, if that helps. Look, this is me trying to convince you to get a damn Steam Deck. Because if you simply enjoy story mode games, like for example Red Dead Redemption, which plays beautifully and super smooth on my unit, or I don't know, maybe you enjoy emulation so you can play all your favorite games such as, I don't know, GTA San Andreas, FIFA Street and whatnot, this is the best thing you can get. And listen, it's not necessarily meant to be used in order to play AAA games, especially not the LCD version, because for the most part, it can't run those games at incredible graphics and frame rates. It just simply does not have the capacity.
So we don't have the capacity.
But that doesn't mean it can't run them. It just isn't as enjoyable as it could be. Like for example, I can play games like Starfield at low settings on the LCD model and average about 30 frames per second. I will say, I do have a couple of settings turned on in my Steam profile, and with the OLED at low settings, you can expect a performance increase of about 10 to 15 frames per second running on that OLED panel, which makes a difference aesthetically. Anyways, later on I'll touch upon battery life as you're playing maybe some indie games, emulator games, and even AAA games. I think that'll make sense. And then I'll touch upon thermals, maybe while you're traveling or you're in bed. How hot does it get? Does that make sense? But the one thing I do want to touch upon right now is that, well, sadly, you can't really play multiplayer games like Battlefield 6, which I know it can be annoying for a lot of you guys and a massive deal breaker, but remember that in order for you to be able to play those games, you need a kernel level anti-cheat software. And because this doesn't run on Windows, rather a Linux distro called SteamOS, it just can't do that. Now, if you want a multiplayer experience, you gotta go with either a Windows handheld like the Ally or Ally X, or if you want more of a native experience, the best choice here really is the Switch. And you don't necessarily need to get the Switch too, okay? Just hold on. I have so many friends currently asking me, what should you get? Well, turns out that I went to EB Games to buy a few things, or GameStop now, that's what it's called. And I saw so many people just buying the first iteration of the Switch. That's more than enough. But if you do happen, okay, to get the Switch 2, one thing you're definitely going to notice is how fast the internal storage fills up. Games are like getting bigger than ever, okay? Updates take a ton of space and the console doesn't give you much to work with out of the box. That's why a lot of people are looking at the Lexar Play Pro microSD Express as an easy upgrade. You just pop it in and suddenly the Switch 2 has like actual breathing room. I recommend swapping for the first 1TB microSD Express card on the market, which will allow you to keep your whole library together instead of just constantly deleting games. It's also designed specifically for portable gaming, which means fast load speeds and quick access to whatever you play the most. And because it's literally a tiny card, it's one of the simplest ways to unlock the full experience of the Switch 2 without spending a ton of money on storage. For anyone planning to go digital with their games, this is the kind of no-brainer accessory that makes the console way easier to live with. And I'll leave a link to them down below. Now, if you do end up getting the Steam Deck over, I guess, the Switch, you're probably wondering, how long can this last? I don't know, like maybe say on a plane, because that's what I usually use it for. Listen, from experience, give yourself about 2 to 4 hours. This is a big range, but it's because it depends what you're playing. Like when I play FIFA Street, for example, if I decide to play it for an entire flight, this can last 3 to 4 hours. But if I decide to play something like Red Dead Redemption or Spider-Man, forget it, man. You'll get about like 2 hours at best. What I do recommend though with this is to get a proper power source. And because of the nature of my work, well, I've got a few. But something like a good Anker power bank that's safe to travel with is perfectly fine. Now, in between transits where you can't really use your Steam Deck, there's no need to shut it down. The amazing thing about the Steam Deck is that it has this amazing sleep function that lets you walk away from it, come back after several hours, and have approximately the same battery life you left it at. Maybe expect about 2 to 3% in dissipation at most. And the one really nice thing about this feature is that resuming games is absolutely effortless for it. It's not like Windows handhelds where it lags and makes a whole fuzz about it or prompts you with updates. As much as some of them deliver great performance, like the ROG Xbox Ally X for example, Windows just kills the real handheld gaming experience because it's just so heavy on a device. You guys keep asking me on Instagram what case this is. This is actually the Kill Switch by dbrand, and they actually make it for the Switch. It's actually really nice. And well, the Steam Deck as well. Man, you know what? I'll show you guys quickly so you can maybe avoid your stuff from being scratched. It's actually like one of the cleanest cases you can get. Like if you have a Switch 2, for example, or you're getting one, it gives you a better grip, full drop protection, and it still works with the dock, thanks to the included adapter that comes in the box. Plus, you get a crush-proof travel cover with built-in game card storage. So if you decide to throw this in a bag like I usually do with, I don't know, a camera and lenses and a computer and other stuff, you don't have to worry because the screen is protected and your sticks aren't going to get messed up. And right now, dbrand extended their Black Friday sale until the 14th at midnight. So you can save $45 on the Kill Switch Ultra Kit, which bundles the case with their Prism glass. It's also available at Best Buy across the US for any last minute shopping, so you can just check online inventory if it's convenient. Look, because Steam Deck runs on SteamOS has been optimized to really deliver the best portable gaming experience possible, which is why Instant Resume is so good. On top of that, because it runs on SteamOS, games run smoother at lower TDPs, fans work smarter, you get fewer random bugs, there are no Windows processes killing performance, no random notification pop-ups, no Windows bloat. It's just great. SteamOS also uses its own built-in per-game performance profiles that you can tweak, where you can limit frame rates, refresh rate, GPU clocks, TDP limits, FSR upscaling, thermal limits, and so on. So it's something I did do with the LCD model to try and get the most out of Starfield to showcase it within this video. See, like, I don't know if you guys caught that, but playing on the LCD, games like Starfield, for example, sometimes it freezes the unit. I don't know if you guys saw that. I had to completely restart it, but it froze the unit. I couldn't do anything, and it happens like from time to time while playing AAA games from what I've been testing. So that's one thing to keep in mind. SteamOS also lets you force AMD FSR on basically any game at system level, even if the game doesn't support it. So it lets you do that, which I haven't tried. I haven't tried that on my end, but apparently it's amazing for battery life and to get the smoothest gameplay you can possibly get. Might be great for the LCD model, but I'm quite happy with the performance of my OLED. And the reason I mention this is because not only is the Steam Deck dummy proof, but it's also got ways to make things extremely complicated, especially when it comes to installing EmuDeck, which is the software you use for emulation, and that's done through the desktop. Now, I'm not trying to scare you guys away. There are plenty of resources online out there to learn how to install this. It's absolutely great, honestly, and it's an app that as long as you own the games that you want to install within, you'll be good. If you know what I mean. Like I said, there's a bunch of resources out there so you guys can learn how to own those games, right? And you can play games like GTA San Andreas, all the Pokemon games you want, really, Need for Speed, and so on. And for the most part, even though sometimes you might run into small little glitches on some games, they play really well. I feel like I get extremely smooth performance, and it just allows me to have a massive gaming library at my fingertips wherever I go. I just want to show you guys something. You see I'm playing San Andreas right now? Check this out. Steam, FIFA Street, go back to FIFA Street, Steam, go back to San Andreas. This is a real handheld console. And then on top of that, I can put it in sleep mode like that. Goes to sleep mode, take it back out, turn it back on. It takes literally 2 seconds, bam. And I can even go back to FIFA Street and play FIFA Street. But the most important question here is, I know what you're gonna ask me. How is AAA gaming on this device? Well, Jesus Christ. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I carry a case on the current devices, that I'm using. I'm using the ROG Ally X right now. Anyways, yeah. Well, this is the LCD model right here. And this is the OLED model. Totally different. On Steam OLED, games like Spider-Man at medium settings can average about 40 frames per second. Games like Red Dead Redemption, that I have running within the Rockstar launcher, can run you at about 45 to 50 frames per second at low to medium settings. Starfield, expect about 35 to 40 frames per second at low settings. This one can be heavy actually. It might stutter sometimes and your Steam Deck might get hot, but it's not super common, at least not from my experience. In fact, chances are before your Steam Deck starts the thermal throttle, it'll be dead within 2 hours. Now, the big question is, you're gonna ask me, I know this. Okay, well, Andreas, should I get the LCD model or should I get the OLED model? I know it's a difficult choice. I know, I'm trying my best here. Listen, keep up with me. Okay, to be honest, I had bought this, okay? I bought the LCD model because I wanted to give indie games a try and emulation as well, which is what it does best. But because, for the most part, I'm more of a AAA game player, I was like, you know what? I need a unit that's gonna give me enough juice to play some games at decently frame rates that looks nice. So I never really used the LCD model all that much, but it isn't to say that some games don't run well. I mean, like Spider-Man, for example, you can easily average 30 to 35 frames at low settings. You just can't expect this to run and make games look like super nice. And the quality of the LCD screen can be shocking for those coming from OLED. However, if you are planning on just grabbing this unit because you just want to play indie games or emulation games, which you have thousands and thousands of titles to play from, or very, very light AAA gaming, the LCD model is just a bargain. It is incredible, and I really, really recommend it if that's the type of person you are. Unless, you know, you're very much prioritizing battery life, because, I mean, it is said that the OLED will last you 30 to 50% longer. Honestly, compared to other handhelds, I mean, the LCD version is just a no-brainer, especially at the price. Like, you know, the Nintendo Switch is so freaking expensive. The ROG Ally X, as much as I've been enjoying this thing, it's just really expensive. And then comes the Steam Deck OLED, not as expensive as those ones, really. But, you know, if you're looking for the best bang for your buck, this is it, in my opinion. As for my own experience with my own unit, okay, the Steam Deck OLED, thermals have been pretty good. In fact, really good if I was to compare it to other handheld devices I've used in the past. In fact, there's no much difference from the big review I did a few months ago, I believe. It does get hot here and there, and it does get loud when downloading demanding games though. Like the fans do like to spin up. I will say that. But if I do play a game like Spider-Man for hours, I think you can expect the console to get hot on the top. Like the chassis and the screen area can become warm, but nothing too crazy. At least not from my experience, right? I haven't suffered from thermal issues at all. Look, I think whether you decide to get the LCD version or the OLED version, whatever happens, I think personally that Steam Deck is the one to get, as long as you don't need to play multiplayer games, because this is a device that's more of like a plug and play type of console. Don't get me wrong, I love my ROG Ally X. I mean, playing Battlefield in bed has been amazing, but if you want the iPhone of handhelds, that's what Steam makes. Because at the end of the day, it's incredibly comfortable, battery is very decent, it's durable for the most part, and you're backed up by Valve, a company with 350 employees cooking for the next generation of gamers. So just go get your Steam Deck.